The next talk is by Kari Systa.
Systa, right.
Systa, okay. From Nokia. I thought those were VXEs. All right, well, requirements for V-stars.
Yeah, I applied some last-minute late binding to the title after this discussion. So, whatever. Actually, also to inspire by the previous talk, I have to tell that one of the most funniest Java applications, but also at the same time the most useless ones, were a basic interpreter implemented in this mobile Java, downloadable to a phone, and you could start basic programming on top of that. So maybe we already have this virtual machine in our phone. What I'm planning to talk today is to explain some of the backgrounds, what and why we have been doing. For quite a many of you, I think these things and issues and topics are known, but not necessarily to everyone, especially those of you who have been working on the server side only. Then I've taken a miscellaneous list of requirements or issues that I see important in this field and kind of topics for discussions. I'm not planning to show anything radical or give any new radical ideas, but more or less like reminding on the facts that are present in the mobile terminals based on various reasons. At the moment, we are mostly using Java. I guess that's no surprise. It has been in the public several times, and it's kind of preferred choice for third-party applications, especially in my mind. While I've been working on the Java for mobile phones for quite many years, its portability and security and important. So it's kind of a more secure and easier way to expand the phone functionality by Java programs. We have also been active in the JCP standardization process on leading quite many of JSRs, participating in the work of JSRs that we feel that are important for us. And just a note, there has been a small research effort on putting Python on Series 60. But before you start making any questions about that to me, I have just had a couple of kind of coffee table discussions with those folks. So I know the people, but I don't know too much on details of that project. So okay, so today the Java is it's called MIDP usually in our terminology. It's in almost all phones except the very small, cheapest, most economic category phones, and then the communicators having this personal profile that is the bigger one. I'm explaining it shortly later. And then this multimedia home platform is used in some digital TV receivers. It's a little bit different world. And of course, like in most companies, Java is used as programming language for all kind of desktop and server programming environments. But that's not really my stuff. I'm not that interested on that. I must confess, because I don't know too much of AGPs at all. And the platform is developing more APIs being added, and especially for multimedia and graphics. And then there's been kind of interest on putting something like CDC-based things, which is a bigger one, and personal profile in communicator is one example of that. Maybe this kind of diagram that most of you have been seeing several times is the reminder that these Java platforms are there are actually several Java platforms, and the one that is mostly known in mobile devices and mostly known as Java 2ME is the one that is the MIDP, and this small CLDC VM that, for example, do not have serialization and reflection and many of those wonderful things we have been discussing today. But on the other hand, it has been designed to match the needs for rather small devices with resource constraints, with limited I/O capabilities and things like that. So where's the thing going on now? The KVM-based MIDP was developed. It does fit the target devices. devices are resource constrained, especially in the amount of available memory. And there are a few other things, like especially the user interface side. The desktop UIs are not really suitable, especially when you've got small devices, if the device screen is small enough, and so on. So there's where the motivations of having the KVM to be and MIPP to be built and to be substantially different. In the future, of course, devices are having more resources. So some of these compromises that were made on MIPP might be changing. And there has been a lot of interest lately on having kind of full, for example, full VM, kind of VM on the meaning of CDC. Actually, by the way, usually when I'm talking about virtual execution environment, I'm thinking the whole stack, not just the VM. And having the bigger functionalities on there, and that seemed to be a topic of several discussion. The other topic that seemed to be discussed quite often nowadays when I'm meeting people is that should we still make the APIs and the platform more compatible to desktop and server side of implementation? Not necessarily because the applications should be portable. I don't think that anybody in senses believe of that. It's more like preserving some of the programming conventions, having kind of more tool interoperability and things like that. And of course, the other side of thing is that will evidently mean a compromise on being the most perfect fit target device. And it's about to be compromised, and the really appreciate all kind of input on that respect during this workshop as well. So this is something that I'm spending quite a lot of time in thinking. And now, of course, the amount of new APIs is increasing rapidly. So how to keep the existing device up to date, that's currently not too much. Actually, currently not possible. I'm afraid that we are going to have version probleming in the future if we can manage that. And there's no space to install all the libraries just in case. There are the memory budgets and they will stay. So we should have some mechanism to handling dependencies and managing the virtual execution environment in the device. There are a couple of attempts mentioned in here already addressing these issues. Now this was kind of background thing, and then more about so-called requirements or things that might be specific to mobile devices. One of the things, this is kind of self-obvious, that needs to be the critical mass and general acceptance. It's still the mobile device, how configurable it is. It's still kind of manufactured and then used, that thing. And the Java applications are added later. The platform doesn't involve that much. I might have almost 10 different VMs in my laptop, and I can even like make the system dynamically use different VMs for different applications if needed. But I can't do that in a form. So it's kind of there needs to be enough momentum that then creates more momentum to put these things there. So what I'm trying to say here is that the environment is not that flexible. And then the other side of here is that the standardization that is also quite often thought as limiting the creativity is that there's the standardization. The players of this industry are more used to at least semi-formal specifications, not formal specifications necessarily in the academic meeting, but to have clear specifications. And because the devices are different, devices between different manufacturers and devices, even device models within one manufacturer might be different. So the portability can't really be based on using the same implementation. There's more need to have a specification on the interface, and then the specification being important, precise enough so that there could be independent implementations or variations in the implementation, and even if it's supporting a implementation it has to be necessary to know what are the borderlines in making the changes, because we can't just take the implementation of VM, for instance, as such and start running it.